This story begins by showing France in the year 1815. This was a time when poor and weak people were tortured. At this point, we also see a prison where many prisoners were kept. Among them was Jean, a prisoner sentenced to 19 years. His only crime was stealing bread to feed his hungry nephew. He was given such a huge punishment for just this mistake. The jailer there hated Jean deeply. That is why he always forced him to do hard labor, which was obviously very difficult. He did this only to satisfy his hatred for Jean. But then the jailer gives him a document. This meant Jean was released on parole. The jailer tells him that parole does not mean full freedom, and he must keep visiting him regularly. He also warns him to maintain good behavior in front of others. Now that he had parole, Jean becomes very happy, and he starts wandering from place to place in search of work. But whenever his documents are checked, people see that he is on parole. No one gives him a job because everyone thinks he is a criminal. That is why he spends his nights on the streets and his days searching for work. One day a priest approaches him. He feels pity after seeing Jean's condition. He takes him to his house, sits him down, and feeds him food in silver utensils. After seeing the silver utensils, greed enters Jean's heart. So at night, after everyone sleeps, he steals the silver items and runs away. But soon the priest's men catch him, and he is brought back before the priest. Jean becomes scared and nervous. The priest tells his men that he had given those silver utensils to Jean, so they should release him. After everyone leaves, the priest tells Jean that he is not a bad person. He says he has seen goodness in him and wants him to start a new life with these silver items. He tells Jean to become a good man and help someone else in the same way whenever he gets the chance. Hearing this, Jean becomes surprised and happy. He thanks the priest, tears up his parole papers, and leaves the city to begin a new life. After this, 8 years pass in the story, and we see Jean again. Now he owns a factory, and he is the mayor of the town where he lives. A woman named Fantine used to work in his factory. She had a daughter whom no one knew about because she was not married, and her daughter lived with her uncle. When the other workers found out she had an unmarried daughter, they turned against her and started insulting her. Hearing the noise, Jean arrives there, but before he could calm everyone down, his eyes fall on the jailer whose parole he had broken years ago. It is revealed that the jailer has been transferred to the same town, and now he is the police chief. Now, Jean tells his manager to calm everyone down, and he himself goes to talk to the police chief. Now, Jean's manager, who already had an evil eye on Fantine, takes advantage of this opportunity. He starts behaving in a strange and inappropriate way with her. Fantine becomes angry and slaps him hard across the face. This makes the manager furious, and he fires her from the job. Jean was completely unaware of this. When Jean meets the police chief, the chief feels as if he has seen Jean somewhere before. He even asks him about it, but Jean clearly denies it. While they are talking, they hear noise from outside. Both of them run out and see that one of Jean's workers has been trapped under a carriage. Seeing this, Jean rushes to lift the carriage himself. The way he lifts the carriage makes the police chief recognize him as the same man who escaped 8 years ago after breaking parole when he was the jailer. But at this moment, he has no proof against Jean. Now Fantine is shown, who sells her hair to get some money. But that money is not enough for her, so she is forced to do work she never wanted to do. She had no choice because she had to send money to her daughter's uncle at any cost. Many days pass like this. One day, Fantine's health becomes very bad, and a man tries to force himself on her. In anger, she scratches his face, and the police staff are called there. The man lies, saying he was just passing by and she attacked him. Hearing this, Fantine starts crying. She defends herself and says that the man is lying. She says she harmed him only because he tried to force himself on her, but the police chief does not believe her and talks about sending her to jail. Then she says that if she goes to jail, what will happen to her daughter? She says her daughter is still very young. Now Jean arrives and hears everything. He also recognizes Fantine and remembers that she used to work in his factory. That is why he tells the police staff to leave her. Jean then asks her, "Tell me, who is responsible for your condition?" Fantine angrily replies that everything happened because of him. She says she worked in his factory, but despite that, his manager made false accusations and fired her. Because of that, even though she did not want to, she was forced to do those things which led to her condition today. Jean is completely shocked to hear this. He feels guilty that a girl is suffering because of him. Since she is badly injured, Jean picks her up himself and takes her to the hospital. Now the police chief comes to Jean. He says, "Please forgive me because I thought you were the criminal who escaped parole, but that criminal has been caught." Jean is shocked to hear this. He wonders which innocent person has been caught in his place and which poor person is now suffering punishment. He could not tolerate this, so he went to the court himself and declared that he was the person who escaped 8 years ago by breaking parole. He admitted that he had torn the parole paper. He said that someone else was being punished in his place, which he could not allow because he was the real criminal, not the other man. But no one believed him. Everyone thought he had lost his mind. After this, Jean goes to the hospital where Fantine was admitted, but her condition is extremely bad. She is taking her last breaths. this. Even in that moment, she worries about her daughter. Jean tells her not to worry about her daughter and promises that he will always take care of her. Hearing this, Fantine dies and Jean becomes very sad. Then the police chief arrives and tells Jean that he was right and that he has recognized him as the prisoner. He says he wants to arrest him.
Jean says, "Don't do this now. Please, I have to take care of Fantine's daughter. Once I finish my responsibility, I will surrender myself."
But the police chief refuses to listen. A fight breaks out between them. Jean manages to escape when he gets the chance. Now we are shown Fantine's daughter, whose name is Cosette. It is revealed that her uncle is not a good man. He forces Cosette to do all the housework and always waits for Fantine's money. Then Jean arrives and takes Cosette with him after giving a large amount of money. Now 9 years pass in the story. After this, the scene shifts to Paris. There was a group of rebels who were fighting against the government because they did not accept its rules. Poor people were not being taken care of. Among these rebels was a young student. When he sees Cosette, he falls in love with her at first sight. Cosette had been living with Jean for the past 9 years, and he had raised her. In the crowd, the student searches everywhere to find her, but he does not find Cosette anywhere. Then Cosette's uncle and his entire family also come to Paris. As soon as they see Jean, they catch him and demand more money from him in exchange for Cosette. Meanwhile, the police chief also arrives, and when Jean sees him, he escapes with Cosette. The police chief then approaches Cosette's uncle, who lies and says that a man stole his daughter and ran away. Hearing this, the police chief says not to worry, and that they will soon find the man and return his daughter. On the other side, the student is with his rebel friends when a child arrives and tells them that the general has died. Hearing this, the student and everyone else become very sad, because the general always supported the poor. Then the student's friend comes to him, the one he had sent to find Cosette. She tells him that she has found her. This friend does not know that Cosette is actually her cousin because she is the daughter of Cosette's uncle. The student becomes extremely happy after hearing this. On the other side, Cosette shares her feelings with Jean. She tells him that she also loves that boy, but Jean explains to her that she should not think too much about this because they do not have time for such things. But Cosette tells him that she cannot forget him. Now the student comes to meet Cosette, and here he expresses his love for her. Hearing this, Cosette's cousin feels very hurt. She hears everything. She starts crying because she had always liked this boy, but he never paid attention to her. Cosette also shares her feelings, and both of them become close, but then she hears Jean's voice. So she goes back to her house. Cosette's uncle's daughter also starts going home sadly, but then she sees her father heading toward Cosette's house with some police officers because he wants to get both Cosette and Jean arrested. Cosette's cousin stops her father, which creates noise. Hearing the commotion, Jean senses danger. That is why he decides that he will go to England forever with Cosette. Before leaving, Cosette writes a letter for the student and gives it to her uncle's daughter so she can deliver it to him. She wants him to know that she is leaving for England. Now, when the general's funeral takes place and his body is being carried for burial, many rebels stand there. They start a protest after the general's death. They begin protesting against the government because they want to overthrow it. The government assigns the police chief to stop the protest. He plans to find out their secrets and identify the rebel leaders. For this, he disguises himself as a rebel and joins them. But a child recognizes him, so all the rebels capture him. At night, the police attack the rebels, and unfortunately, a bullet hits Cosette's cousin. Before dying, she gives Cosette's letter to the student because she was a good person. She was nothing like her parents. After giving the letter, she dies. Now Cosette's friend reads her letter and writes one for her as well. He gives it to a child and tells him to deliver it to Cosette. But Jean receives the letter instead, and when he reads it, he realizes that Cosette and the boy truly love each other. He also understands that the boy's life is in great danger due to the situation in the city. That is why, the next day, he goes to the area dressed as a policeman where the rebels had built barricades. When the rebels arrive, they capture Jean. But before they can harm him, the same child recognizes him and says that he is their supporter, so they release him. Then Jean sees that the rebels have captured the police chief. A noose is tied around his neck because they want to execute him. Jean tells them to hand the police chief over to him. Jean says that he will kill him himself. After this, he takes the police officer down and tells him to run away from there. He intentionally fires a bullet at the wall, and when the rebels hear the sound, they think he has killed the police chief. The next day, the police attack the rebels, and all of them are killed. A bullet also hits Cosette's friend, due to which he becomes injured. Now Jean somehow survives and enters the sewer through a pipe to save both of their lives, but their condition becomes worse. The next morning, the police see the dead bodies of all the rebels. They also find the body of the small child they had seen alive only yesterday. Seeing this, the police chief's heart breaks completely. The child had always done good things, so the police chief removes his badge and places it on the child's body as a mark of respect. He notices that Cosette's friend is missing. Then he sees the pipe in the sewer from where Jean must have taken him. The police chief begins to suspect that they escaped through the pipe. Meanwhile, Jean and Cosette's friend lie unconscious in the sewer. Cosette's uncle appears there, and because he is greedy, he removes the ring from Cosette's friend's hand. But then Jean wakes up. He grabs him and forces him to show them the way out. The sewer was like a trap, and they could not find any exit. That is why Jean had no choice but to ask Cosette's uncle for help. When they finally come out, they see the police chief standing in front of them. Jean tells him not to stop them and says it is important for him to save the boy's life. So the police chief does not stop them, and both leave safely. Somewhere in the police chief's heart there was shame, and he wanted to free himself from his guilt. So he climbs to the roof and jumps, ending his life. After a few days, Cosette's friend regains consciousness. When he learns that all his companions have been killed, he becomes very sad, but he feels relieved knowing that Cosette is with him. Jean tells him the entire truth about his past. He also says that he will never tell Cosette any of this, or else she will break down. After that, Jean goes away from both of them forever because he does not want his past to bring trouble into Cosette's life or her friend's life. Later, Cosette and her friend decide to get married, but before the wedding, Cosette's uncle and his wife return again. Her uncle begins blackmailing Cosette's friend and says, "If you do not give me money, I will tell everyone that you were a rebel and you protested against the government." He also says that on the day when all your rebel friends were killed, Jean saved your life. Actually, before this, he did not know that Jean had saved his life. He was unconscious at that time, and now, after hearing this, he realizes that Jean had done a great favor for him, and he let him go just like that. That is why he asked Cosette's uncle for Jean's address. Although he did not want to tell him, when Cosette's friend attacked him, he was forced to reveal Jean's location. Now he takes Cosette to the place where Jean was. Jean's health deteriorates badly. He is completely alone. He is taking his last breaths of life. Before dying, Fantine's soul comes to him and says, "Thank you very much. You took such good care of my daughter." In the meantime, Cosette and her friend also reach there. Now Jean, while dying, gives a letter to Cosette and says that after his death, this letter must be read. After saying this, he dies, leaving Cosette and her friend completely shattered. After death, we are shown Jean's soul, which begins with Fantine. Here he also meets the priest, whose single favor changed Jean's entire life. If he had not given him that silver utensil and a chance to escape from there, then perhaps he would have spent his whole life rotting in jail. Although his life had no meaning, he did good deeds, because of which the purpose of his life changed, and as the priest had said, he helped others. He followed this teaching very well. Whenever he got a chance, he helped everyone, due to which he happily embraced death. And the letter he gave to Cosette contained the whole truth about Jean. This means she also came to know everything about Jean's past. That is why she will always remember Jean in good words, and his soul will also be at peace knowing that he did not hide anything from anyone. He had made a place in everyone's heart. That is why he was so happy even after his death. And with this, the story of this film ends here.